Hello everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Ryan. I have cerebral palsy and I've used a walker my entire life. Today I want to talk a little bit about what it's like really living with cerebral palsy and having a disability. There's a story I think about a lot that I'll never forget. So I grew up in Ohio in the middle of nowhere. There were virtually no people with disabilities anywhere. And I remember I was with my aunt and we went to one of the local markets. I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. And I had my little walker, and I remember going into the market. As soon as I entered the market, as soon as I got in the door, the whole store stopped and they turned their head and they just stared at me. Everyone, all the shoppers stopped, all the workers stopped. Literally, it was like a scene in a movie. People were just frozen and their eyes were just glued to you. I'll never forget that moment because I felt a lot of different emotions and I didn't really know how to articulate it because I was so young. I mean, one, I felt like a freak. I felt like it's like, why are people staring at me? Is something wrong? Like, did I do something bad? Like, what's up with that? Things are a lot different now because now everybody has the internet. And if you have a disability in a place like Los Angeles, nobody cares. I mean, people in big cities have seen so much crazy stuff that having any kind of disability, nobody really even bats an eye. It's not even a blip on their radar because people have seen so much craziness. But back then, when I was a kid and the internet wasn't really a thing, you weren't exposed to as much stuff. So a young kid with a disability in rural Ohio in a grocery store, it's pretty weird. This happened a lot when I was growing up, when I was a little kid. One of the things I learned was that if people are going to stare at you, you may as well give them something worth looking at. So as a teenager, that was sort of my thing. And I realized that what you have when you have a disability is you actually have a defiance pass. You have this freedom to kind of do whatever you want and nobody is going to say anything to you simply because you have a disability. You can get away with a lot more with a disability than an able-bodied person. And I started thinking to myself, well, to not exploit this is actually kind of silly. Like, why would you not take advantage of being able to push the envelope and get away with what you can get away with? Not in a way that's harmful to other people, but in a way that benefits you the most, in a way that's leverage. A defiance pass is actually leverage. So for example, in my senior year of high school, my high school had a pretty strict dress code and you weren't allowed to have certain haircuts and certain things. So I ended up, the summer going into my senior year of high school, I ended up getting dreadlocks. And I was like, they're not gonna say anything to me. They're just not going to because I have a disability. And I was right. One of the things I learned as an adult is that having a defiance pass also has a very practical application. For example, the ability to reinvent yourself. Having a disability, you've been through so much stuff. You've been judged so harshly in your entire life, like by again, generally people that are the closest to you. And you've earned the right to reinvent yourself as much as you want, even if that means I have to iterate a million times to figure out who that person is. There's a difference between people who are just defiant to be defiant, but having a disability, you have real skin in the game. You've gone through some stuff. So in many ways, I feel like having a disability has been a huge blessing in my life because it's given me the freedom to not be bound to the rules that I feel like most people are. I can push the envelope a little more. And I feel like if you have a disability, why would you not use that to your advantage to build the life that you want to build?